In the wake of a pandemic where millions of people died, your survival carries a specific weight. To continue living while others did not suggests an obligation to protect your potential, rather than squandering it on trivialities. We usually prepare for disaster to arrive like an explosion, a sudden, visible spike in failure. But the destruction of a life usually looks more like a slow, persistent leak of energy, triggered by the negative people you let into your inner circle. We operate under the assumption that we can remain unaffected by our surroundings. We believe we can listen to hours of chronic complaining and simply choose not to absorb the toxicity. There is an old metaphor involving the sandalwood tree, how venomous snakes can wrap themselves around the trunk without the wood absorbing their poison. We like to imagine our minds possess that same impenetrable nature, but you are a human being, susceptible to your environment, not a piece of legendary timber. You are biologically wired to mirror the emotions and attitudes of the people you spend the most time with. Sitting in a circle of negativity is an active risk. If you drop one happy person into a group of 20 people who have given up, you don't save the 20. You simply create a 21st person who has given up. The case of Kaise in the Ramayana provides a perfect study of this process. Her initial love for Ram was so deep and uncorrupted that the idea of hurting him was unthinkable. When her maid, Manthara, first suggested that she should exile Ram to secure the throne for her own son, Kaise reacted with immediate disgust. She ordered Manthara to leave, her mental defenses standing firm against the suggestion. Manthara relied on the power of the drip. She returned again and again, framing her poison as concern for Kaise's future. The sheer frequency of the whisper eventually wore down the resistance that logic alone could have protected. Persistence creates a psychological opening. When a negative suggestion is repeated enough times, the mind stops fighting the intruder and begins to accept the new, distorted reality as its own. If a mother's profound, unconditional love can be dismantled by a series of relentless whispers, an ordinary mind stands no chance against a daily barrage of negativity. Modern mantras are the friends and colleagues who treat your focus like a shared wastebasket for their frustrations. They spend their hours dissecting systemic problems they have no intention of solving. There is a massive difference between the national inflation rate and your personal income. One is a macroeconomic force that you cannot stop. The other is an actionable number that responds directly to your skills and output. Many people waste their mental bandwidth debating national crusades or the level of corruption in the capital, acting as if they are Anna Hazare. In reality, they are neglecting the only corruption they can actually fix, their own lack of discipline. It is a drain on your daily mental energy to obsess over the high-level maneuvers of government officials or the Prime Minister. These are levers of power that exist entirely outside your sphere of influence. Fixating on these uncontrollable factors creates a false sense of intellectual engagement. It allows you to feel like you are participating in the world while your own growth remains paralyzed. An 18-year-old who treats a single hour like a finite resource possesses more foresight than a 50-year-old who spends every afternoon debating the news. When we look at how winners operate, maturity is measured by how effectively they guard their schedule. Think of your mind as a khazana, a treasure vault. You would not leave the door to a physical vault wide open for anyone to toss in their trash, yet we allow people to dump their mental garbage into our heads daily. Ultra-successful people like Bill Gates will give away billions of dollars in charity, but try to take 10 minutes of his attention for a gossip session or a pointless complaint, you will be blocked. They value their mental space more than their bank accounts. They protect their focus because they understand that even a short exposure to chronic bitterness can skew their judgment for days. One bad conversation can corrupt a week of clear thinking. You must apply this same ruthlessness. Identify the people in your life who have no stake in your progress and stop giving them access to your internal vault. Stop asking what the government is doing or what the neighbors are saying. The only question that leads to growth is, what am I doing with my time right now? Guarding your mental vault and focusing exclusively on what you can control turns you into the designer of a winning life. You stop being a spectator of the world's problems and start becoming the solution to your own.